welcome to this week's Pilates session. We're going to be using our resistance bands today, so if you need to go and grab your band, pause me quickly, go and grab it, and then come back and you can get started again. So we're going to just start off with a little bit of posture work and shoulder warm up in standing. So we're going to start feet together, come up nice and tall. We're going to go toes out, heels out, so your feet hip width apart. And then just from there, gently find that equal pressure between forefoot and hind foot, and also between left foot and right foot. And then come back to that midpoint. Nice soft knees, pelvis up nice and neutral. So just gently imagine that pelvis like a bowl, marble at the bottom, rolling that marble forwards and backwards, opening up and closing down through that lower back, and then come into that nice neutral position, marble at the bottom of that bowl. Up nice and tall through the spine, so really lengthen through the spine, through the shoulder blades, through the back of the neck, crown of the head, and then just loosen off through the shoulders. Good. And then bring those shoulders up, back, and gently down. So you're going to keep those collarbones nice and wide and keep that gap in between ear and shoulders. So making sure that as we work through the arms, we're not lifting those shoulders up. So we're going to hold the band just gently in between your hands, thumbs pointing up towards the ceiling. So try not to turn palms down, but keep those thumbs up as though they were going to go, if you were going to hold them up, they're going to go up towards the ceiling. So we're going to engage through those core muscles and just gently start to do a little bit of shoulder warm up. So we're going to open up through the shoulders. So from here, we keep the elbow by the side and pull the arm out to the side. Just gently trying to fire up the rotator cuff muscles. So breathe out, move out. And if you find that tough, then start with your hand more in front of your waist and just work to that neutral position. Breathe out, breathe in, move in. Keep the soft knees, keep the pelvis nice and neutral. If you can work further into range, then come out a little bit further. I'm going to alternate side to side. So I was just got fixed on one side then, didn't I? But just because I was showing you a slightly different movement. But if you need to, as I say, go from cross body to neutral, then you can work that. Or if that's too hard with the band, then you can work without the band. So just working on that rotation out and just trying to push in, as long as it's not painful, push into that end of range movement. So but without the band, you should be able to go a little bit further. With the band, slightly harder. Good. Let's do one more on either side. Enough to equal you up. Good, well done. And relax off. And then from there, we're going to stand on the band. Let's just do one. Stand on the band with one leg and then holding the band with both your arms. So make sure it's just equal both sides. Just gently soft knees, so don't lock the knees out. Pelvis nice and neutral, up nice and tall. And then from there, we're just going to do a little bicep curl. So we're going to bend, hand up towards shoulder, do one arm and then the other. Keeping the upper body nice and still. If you feel like you need to loosen the band off a little bit, you can do maybe 8 to 10 repetitions on one side so the band's a little bit more free. And then you can lengthen through the other side and work on the other side with a little bit more slack through the band, so less resistance. If you're happy to, then coming up, controlling down. Pulling up, controlling down. Just make sure that you're not bringing your elbow up as well. So it's purely bending from the elbow, hand towards shoulder and back down. The other thing we're looking for as we do this is making sure that we don't pull back. So we're staying up nice and tall. That pelvis stays nice and neutral. And we're just going to work through the biceps, control down. Because you've got the band, you might feel like you want to go down and ping down, but don't. Control through. So you're working that bicep muscle as you lift and as you lower. Keep the shoulders down. Make sure you're not lifting shoulders up towards ears. Good, let's do one more on either side. We're enough to equal you up on both sides. Good, well done. From there, we're going to stand on the band with the other leg this time. We're going to soften the knees and lean forward from the waist, keeping that spine really nice and long. So don't arch through the spine, don't curl through the spine. Nice and long through the spine, core switched on. And then from there, we're going to just straighten the arm. Actually, you might want to stand on both bands first. So you're going to straighten through the arm. Breathe out to straighten, in to come back. Breathe out and in to come back. Keeping that band tight but not working through pain. If you need to do one arm at a time and have the band slightly a little more slack, you can do. That's fine. Work with what you're comfortable with. But we're going to just gently pulling through that resistance and back down. Pulling through the resistance and back down. Breathe out, breathe in. Keep that spine nice and long. Keep those core muscles switched on. Work through the back of the arms. Bingo, wing target. You want to work through those triceps. Tone up the back of the arms. Good. Breathe out and in. So make sure in this position, again, your upper arm stays nice and still. So you're not bringing the elbow back, you're just straightening the arm back down. Elbow stays next to the rib cage. Good. Last one on either side. Have a little relax off, and just from there I'm going to get you to just interlock your fingers behind, lengthen through and take your hands away from your bottom, just to open up through the front of the shoulders. Good, and then gently relax off, hands in front, turn the palms away and lengthen through the arms. Good. And just relax off through there. I'm going to get you to do a little modified roll down just to start getting the back moving a little bit before we come down onto the mat. So coming up nice and tall, we're going to drop chin into neck. You've obviously already engaged through those core muscles. Engaging through the core, chin into neck, rolling down, one vertebra at a time. Hands coming down towards the knees. We're going to stop there. We're going to bend the knees, going to lift the tailbone, look forward, lower breastbone, belly button. Tuck chin into chest, lift breastbone, lift belly button, tuck that tailbone under, lengthen through the legs, and then stacking up through the spine, all the way tall, shoulders down. Rolling down again. Bend the knees, lift the tailbone, look forward, arching through the back. Curl chin to chest, lift breastbone, belly button, curl that tailbone under, lengthen through the legs. And coming back up, make sure you keep breathing. And again, we're going to do 3 more. Rolling down, lifting tailbone, alone, belly button, breastbone, look forward. Curl through, lengthen legs. Try and work through that mobility through the spine, bending through, lift tailbone, lift chin, lower back down, curl through the spine, lengthen the legs, shoulders down and back as we lengthen all the way through the spine. Last one. Bending the legs, lift the tailbone, lift the chin, lower back down, curl through the spine, lengthen through the legs, and stack back up. Good, well done. Okay, so we're going to come down onto the mat. I'm just going to start off with a little bit of kind of hip control work. So once you're down onto the mat in sitting, I'm going to put the band underneath your foot and make sure you're equal length with the band. And then we're going to bring the feet in line with knees and hips, and then coming down onto your back. The band comes one side in between your legs and one out on the outside of that leg with the band on. So we're going to just make sure that you're nice and long through the back of the neck, shoulders down, and we're going to come into that arching and hollowing through the spine. Imagine that marshmallow underneath your belly button between spine and mat, 2 pence coin underneath breastbone between spine and mat, and come down into that nice neutral position. So you're halfway onto that marshmallow, maybe a little bit more if you know you arch through the lower back, and you're down, the breastbone's down, so you've got contact between your spine and that 2 pence coin. We're going to hold onto the band, and we're going to have our elbows down onto the mat with our shoulders kept away from our ears. So keeping that nice open collarbones, nice gap, so you're not tensing through the neck and shoulders. And from there, we're going to just bend that leg up to tabletop. We need to make sure those core muscles are engaged, so you're just gently pulling in through the belly button, up through the pelvic floor. And then we're going to lengthen the leg just as far as you need to go. So if you need to keep the knee slightly bent, you can keep that knee slightly bent. If you're happy to lengthen through, then you can lengthen through that leg. We're going to keep the pressure of our back down onto the mat. Breathe out, lower down. Breathe in, come back up. I'm going to try and keep that movement nice and smooth. Keep the elbows in contact with the floor and the hands still. So the hands might want to go down with that leg and then come back up with that leg. But I want you to keep the hands still so that the tension on the band increases as you come down and decreases slightly as you come up. If that means that you only come to halfway down and back up, that's absolutely fine. So breathe out, move out. Breathe in, move up. Keeping that control for your lower back, shoulders down, nice and relaxed through neck and shoulders. Breathe out, move out. Breathe in, come back up. Keep that leg nice and smooth, so keep the control all the way through. Breathe out, lower down. Breathe in, come back up. Elbows on the floor, hands stay still. Good, let's do one more. Okay, so if you imagine that leg to be like the hour hand on a clock and it's pointing up to 12 o'clock, you're going to bring that whole hand out to 11 o'clock. Okay, so you're not just turning the toes to 11 o'clock, you're turning that whole leg out to 11 o'clock. And then from there, we're going to breathe out, lower that heel down to the outside edge of the mat. Breathe in, control back up. So the toes stay pointing up towards the ceiling, but that leg is on just a slight diagonal kind of trajectory out there. But we're keeping the other leg nice and still, so that resting knee stays pointing up towards the ceiling. Your back stays nice and neutral on the mat. Breathe out, move out. Breathe in, come back in. And you're keeping your hands still again, so don't allow your elbows to move, so you're straightening and bending your arms as you lower that leg down and come back up. Good. Let's do 3 more. 2 and 1. Good, well done. Bend that knee and lower the foot back down to the floor. Just let go of the band. We're going to take arms out wide, feet and knees together, roll both knees across to one side and look away from your knees. Keep the shoulders flat, just take some nice big breaths in there. So you're just opening up all the way through that upper side of the body. then gently rolling those knees back through to the centre. I'm going to roll across to the other side. Arms stay wide, look away from your knees, keep your shoulders down, keep breathing, open up through that upper side of the body. And one more breath in there. And then gently coming back through to the centre. Good, well done. And then we're going to do the other leg. So if you need to sit up and pop the band under the other leg, make sure the band's equal both sides and coming back down onto the floor. Shoulders down, neck nice and long. Come down onto that marshmallow, that 2p coin. Engage through the core. And then if you want to just lift your arms up so you can bring that leg to tabletop, and then bring the elbows down onto the mat, and the elbows at 90 degrees, so hands up towards the ceiling. Just make sure that that knee that's at rest on the mat is nice and neutral, pointing up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to lengthen that leg, and you can bring it up towards the ceiling as far as you feel comfortable going. If you need to keep a slight soft knee, then you can keep a slight soft knee. And then from there, breathe out, lower down to the mat. Breathe in, come up towards the ceiling. Remember, the shoulders and neck stay nice and relaxed. Your elbows stay rested onto the mat, and the hands stay pointing up towards the ceiling. So the band will increase in tension as you lower it away. And if that means you only go halfway and come back up, then that's fine. What I don't want you to do is kind of move your arms with your leg. And I want you to control against the resistance of the band. Control back up again. Breathe out, lower down. Breathe in, come back up. Keep that same pressure of your back down onto the mat. And don't rest the leg. If you're going all the way to the floor, don't rest the leg on the floor. Just maybe tap the floor and come back up, or don't even tap the floor, just go just above the floor. When you know that the floor's almost there, come back up again. Breathe out. Lower down, breathe in, come back up. Good. Remember to keep those hands pointing up towards the ceiling. Shoulders and neck stay nice and relaxed with nice big gap, shoulders to ears. Let's do one more. Good. And then from there, so you can bend your knee slightly if you want, just have a little rest while I'm explaining to you. So we're going to imagine that that leg is nice and long, like that hour hand pointing up to 12 o'clock. And then from there, so if you lengthen that leg up to 12 o'clock, you're going to come out to 1 o'clock. Toes stay pointing in the same direction, straight up, but the leg moves out to the side slightly. So that whole leg is just on a slight angle. Breathe out, tap down that heel to the outside edge of the mat. Breathe in, come back up. Breathe out, come back down. Breathe in, come back up. Keeping that resting knee pointing up towards the ceiling, keeping the elbows on the mat, hands up towards the ceiling. Breathe out, lower. Breathe in, come up. Keep the collarbones wide, shoulders down away from ears. Breathe out, lower. Breathe in, come back up. And this works more through the outside of the hip. So on that slight kind of moving that leg out to 1 o'clock, just fires up through the outside of the hip. Breathe out to lower, in to come back up. And again, you don't have to go all the way down towards the mat. You can just work in a smaller range if that's more comfortable for you. And if it's hard work on the arms, then just stick through a smaller range as well. Good. Let's do a couple more. Good. Last one. And then we're going to bend that knee. We're going to take the band off the foot. Just pop it down by the side. And then from there, we're going to just lengthen one leg away. Lengthen the other leg away. Take your arms up above your head. Big stretch through Breathe in, reach from tips and toes away. Breathe out, sink down into the mat. Breathe in, lengthen away. Breathe out, sink down into the mat. Good. And then bring those arms back down by your side. Bend one leg up, bend the other leg up to join it. Good, well done. Okay, so from there we're going to use the band again. So we're going to pop the band underneath both feet. So I want you to be careful this time in terms of making sure that you look after that lower back. So if you'd rather than put it in this position and bring the legs up, what you can do if you want to is have the band in your hands, float one leg up, bring that knee nice and close to your chest, bring the other leg up to join it, and then you can pop the band underneath and just make sure you're nice and long through there. But I want you from that position, whichever position you come into, make sure that back's nice and long. We're going to then just gently take hands up towards the ceiling, thumbs pointing up above your head, so towards the wall behind you. And then you're going to bring the legs into 90 degrees hip and knee, and that shin parallel to the floor. So from here, we're going to try and keep that arms nice and still, and we're going to just start by lengthening your right leg away from you, and then coming back in again. Now as you do this, I want you to keep your hip, knee and foot in the same line. If it's too much for your arms, you can bring your arms back down, elbows onto the floor, but I want you to keep the hip, knee and foot in a straight line. Breathe out, lengthen, breathe in, come back in. Breathe out, lengthen, breathe in, come back in. Don't want it to be sore on shoulders, so say if you'd rather use your hands or keep your hands further down or next to you, because that's easier through your shoulders, and that's fine. I'd rather you not do any harm. It's hard work keeping those arms above because you're stabilising against that resistance change, and it works those shoulders quite hard. So do what you feel is most comfortable in terms of fixing the band in the correct position. But you're going to keep, I'm just going to change my angle slightly, keep your knee, foot, hip in one line. Breathe out, lengthen through, breathe in, come back. So make sure that that foot's not going out to the side and both knees going off to the side, or it's not coming into the centre, but you're staying in line. Breathe out, lengthen through, breathe in, come back. Good. Now, depending on how that feels and how your shoulders are, just bring your feet back down onto the floor. If you need to do that one at a time, do that one at a time. I'm going to have a go at just doing a little arm, like an arm movement. But again, I want you to really look after your shoulders. So if it doesn't feel right on the shoulders, then leave the band and just do it without the band if you want to. That's absolutely fine. The band just adds that bit of resistance. So let's start off hopefully in a lower, kind of more comfortable position. So you're going to have your feet under the band, fixing the band down, and you're going to have your arms, shoulders down away from your ears, collarbones nice and wide, core switched on. Have your arms down by your, just above your thighs really. I'm going to just pull one arm up towards you, straight above your shoulder and back down, and then the other arm. Now if that's too much resistance wise, then do a smaller movement, or no band, and you can come all the way up, one arm and the other arm. So we're really trying to keep that pressure of your spine down onto the mat. Or you can work on just a small controlled movement. So keep those thumbs pointing up towards the ceiling, above your head. So up to point thumbs as though they're pointing to that wall above your head. Breathe out, push forward. If that's too much on shoulders, don't push through. There's no point. I don't mind you feeling like the muscles are working, but it shouldn't cause shoulder pain. So be mindful and be sensible. Don't push through anything that doesn't feel right. Breathe out. Keep that shoulder down, that pressure down of your back down onto the mat. You might find that you can do it on one arm and the other arm is harder. So I'm better on my right arm, which is my dominant arm, than I am on my left arm at doing this. Let's do one more on either side. But if you're doing without the band, that's absolutely fine. I'm happy with that. Good. And relax down. Good, nice, well done. Okay, just from there, have a hug, one knee in towards your chest. And then bring that other one in to join it. Have a little hug through. Circle the knees over your chest. Good. And then back in the other direction. Now hug your knees in towards your chest one more time. Lower one leg down and lower the other one down to join it. We're going to take the band out of the way for a moment. Just have a little stretch through of the hips and the shoulders. So I'm going to get you to bring your arms out wide. And if it's comfortable for you to, bend your elbows to 90 degrees so the hands come out into kind of a cactus position. So you've got your 3 cactus points, your head and both arms. We're going to walk your feet to either side of the mat so that you've got your knees are nice and wide, feet are nice and wide. We're just going to roll your knees across to one side, keeping the arms and elbows, fingertips, shoulders down onto the mat, taking your knees down towards the floor, one side. Just take some nice deep breaths in there. And then gently rolling back through to the centre and across to the other side. Keep the fingertips, elbows, shoulders down flat. Good. And then come back through to the centre. We're going to lengthen your right leg out, bring your arms down out of that cactus position. We're going to hug your left knee in towards your chest. So lengthen through the right leg, hug your left knee in towards your chest. And then from there, just bring that left knee across towards your right shoulder. You just open up through the outside of that left hip. Good, just hold it for one more breath and then gently come back through to the centre, lower that left foot to the floor. Slide that right knee in towards you, hug it towards your chest, slide your left leg out long and hug that right knee in towards you. And then gently bring your right knee across towards your left shoulder, opening up through that right bottom cheek. Just hold it there for a few breaths. Good. And then gently bring that knee back across into the centre and lower that knee back down onto the floor. Bend the other leg up. And then you can either just roll onto your side and come up into sitting if that's more comfortable for you. Just come up nice and tall through the spine, equal weight through the sitting bones, lengthen through the back of the neck, crown of the head. And you're just going to take 3 nice big deep breaths in there, breathing in, lengthening through the spine. As you breathe out, drop those shoulders down. Good, one more time. Good work, well done. If you're enjoying that band work, makes it slightly harder, especially through the arms and the legs. If the band just feels too tough, you're more than welcome to do those movements without the band. So if you need to, or you can mix and match, you can do it sometimes with the band, sometimes without the band. But hopefully that will give you a nice little band workout for today. Take care. Bye.